welcome you watching the Trending Burning Question with me, Shavan. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we put the spotlight on a story first broken back in 2021 by Republic Media Network. This was about a leftist propagandist website called the Newsclick. We were the first network to expose this link with an American millionaire who happens to be a close associate of the Communist Party of China. When the story broke, you had a cabal raising this entire question that whether at all we were only becoming the mouthpiece of an investigative agency. In fact, at that point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we raised this question as to who exactly was this organization working for. Today, it is out in the open. This has now triggered a political debate in the parliament. Joining us today with our guests from Vijay Chowk, we take this question as to who exactly were they really working for? Whose instructions were they really taking? There were email exchanges that took place, and let's not forget, you're talking about unexplained foreign remittance of about 38 crore rupees. And when this question was asked to the editor-in-chief of that very portal, he feigned ignorance. Now, documents accessed by Republic TV goes on to indicate that there was an elaborate plan in place. Series of arrangements were actually made, and this arrangement was only to wash off China's sins. Now, what is the larger design, ladies and gentlemen? That's our debate tonight. But first, take a look at this report, and then we begin the trending burning question.
Lutyens' cash for news scam gets bigger as alleged mail trail shows Chinese agenda was peddled. The purported mail trail showed how CPM leader Prakash Karat heaped praises on China and discussed the border issues. And when confronted, he had nothing to say.
Mr. Karat, can we know what is your link with Neville Singham? There are huge accusations against you. Can you speak about it?
I don't know anything. I've just come on a flight.
Yes, but there are a lot of mail trail that has come out which has direct discussions between you two, where discussions about farmers' protests, about a lot of things, border issues. Can you comment on it?
I'll find out what it is. I can't say anything.
We need one answer. Do you deny these allegations?
You'll find it in Delhi,
About you? They say that you have been speaking about Chinese propaganda. What do you have to comment about it?
Let all lies. Let me see.
Today, the issue was rigged up in the parliament by the BJP MP Nishikant Dubey.
प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में मैं एक बताऊं, यदि न्यूज क्लिक का नाम यदि डिलीट या रेस्टोर हो गया, कांग्रेस को क्या समस्या है सर? न्यूज क्लिक आपका कौन लगता है? पुरकास्ट का नाम यदि रेस्टोर हो गया, पुरकास्ट आपका क्या लगता है? रोहिणी सिंह, अभिसार शर्मा या कोई भी मान लीजिए ठाकुर रंजन प्रागता, यदि उसका डिलीट हो गया नाम या एक्सपंज से फिर बाहर आ गया, आपको क्या परेशानी है? आपका कोई मतलब नहीं है। और मैं ऑन रिकॉर्ड एक और रिवीलेशन करना चाहता हूं सर, कि सीपीएम के जो जनरल सेक्रेटरी, पूर्व जनरल सेक्रेटरी थे प्रकाश कारात साहब, उनका पूरा का पूरा मेल मैं ऑन रिकॉर्ड आपको लाना चाहता हूं कि जो वो नेवेली राय सिंघम था, उसके साथ उनके हजारों मेल हैं, और जब आप कहेंगे मैं ऑन रिकॉर्ड उसको पेश कर दूंगा सर कि सीपीएम किस तरह से देशद्रोही पार्टी के साथ है।
The rattled opposition opposed the speech and demanded it to be expunged.
बीजेपी पार्टी के एक सदस्य मिस्टर दुबे वो बेबुनियाद और आधारहीन तथ्यों के सहारे कांग्रेस पार्टी और इसके साथ साथ हमारे नेतागण जैसे कि राहुल गांधी जी, इन सबको खिलाफ धड़ल्ले से गाली गलौज देना शुरू कर दिए। एक ओछी तरीके से और घटिया बयान पेश कर रहे थे जिसका कोई आधार नहीं, कोई तथ्य नहीं है।
The Lutyens media scam is only getting bigger. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the raids were carried out by the Enforcement Directorate, you had a section within the Lutyens media and let's not forget the cabal of activists who then said that this was nothing but an attempt that was made by the government to muzzle the voice of the opposition. Tonight we raise that very question, that when you have the same very organization, news organization, Western media, whom you have been vouching for all this while, the same very media exposes the propaganda, what would you say then? Joining us on the Trending Burning Question tonight with me here is Aarti Tikku Singh and Nikhil Jain. Joining us from the studios, we have Gopal Krishna Agarwal and Rohan Mitra and Ravi Srivastav. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the primary reasons why we also have Aarti here is Aarti runs a news portal, and she would be perhaps the best person to explain, Aarti, that there are certain rules and regulations as an editor-in-chief that you would be following. And more importantly, this question that is basically raised about the funding that organizations get. We wouldn't have had any problem if this funding was coming in from the right means. You wouldn't be jacking up the price as far as the shares are concerned. And then perhaps having that holier-than-thou image that, okay, look here, we are just becoming a critique of the government. Of course, you can be a critique of the government. No one stops you from being that. But the moment you start essentially taking orders from someone and then projecting that as a fair investigation, a fair journalism, therein lies the problem. I want you, Aarti, to perhaps put this into perspective as someone who runs a news portal herself. What are the challenges that you face and perhaps the rules and regulations that you have to follow?
Well, to begin with, as a principle, I had decided as a founder of a news portal that I will not take any foreign funding. Given the fact that in the last few years we have understood how the Chinese imperialism has infiltrated into media, into social media across the world, we have seen instances where China has been running propaganda trends even on social media, and it's widely known. It's not something which is secret anymore. So as a principle, I had decided that I will not go for foreign funding. But second, even if there were people interested in investing in our news portal, I was absolutely clear that they would have absolutely zero influence and no influence on the editorial side of the website. But we did not, in fact, that never materialized, because I was too strict with all the rules, with all the laws that prohibit Indian news portals from taking investments from shady organizations, from organizations which are, for example, connected directly with any foreign government. So and in the Chinese case,
understand, Aarti, there would be a proper check and balance in place. You would essentially do a basic homework with regards to where the money is coming from. And perhaps as far as foreign direct investment is concerned, as far as news portals are concerned, there are strict laws in place. So you can't perhaps circumvent them. In this particular case, when you're receiving about 38 crore rupees, it's quite clear that you've circumvented some rules in order to get that kind of money.
Absolutely. It's clear that, this is not a small amount, because I run a very small startup. Our funding is very small. 38 crores is a massive amount of money, and if you are circumventing all the rules and laws, FCRA rules and guidelines, you're clearly not on the right side of the law in India.
Right.
So I think generally media is one particular area where you have to be absolutely sure about where the funding is coming from and how much control you're giving in the editorial to the investor. And those laws have to be absolutely clear. I also want to mention it here that, see, Chinese investments, not only in media, but in several other sectors, in private sector especially, has influenced countries in a huge way. Look at Sri Lanka, look at Pakistan, look at many other countries where the Chinese investment has gone, and how the narrative in favor of China has been propped up in the last few years. So anyone who is taking money from China, there will be a quid pro quo. You cannot be taking so much of money and doing it just for the sake of social service.
It can't be as ambivalent as what they make it look like. Prakash Karat said that, look here, I don't know what are you talking about, who exactly is Naval Roy Singham. Let's now look at the politics of it, and on this, Nikhil, I want to bring you in. The moment this was actually raised, you may have your own share of problems as far as the BJP parliamentarian Nishikant Dubey is concerned. Whether it is constitutional or unconstitutional, that's debatable. The very fact that you have leaders of the Congress party up in arms. I'm not naming the journalists because I'm not going to name journalists who are not part of that investigation. But of course, I will name journalists like Paranjay Guha Thakurta, who allegedly, let me make it very clear, allegedly received roughly about 40 lakh rupees. So we are talking about a larger media scam. So why should the opposition party suddenly come in support of an organization which has come under the scanner? One. Secondly, you may say that, look here, let the court decide. But the fact of the matter here, there is a money trail. You would at least not go out full support, protecting them. There would be some sort of a caveat. But it now looks like, whom are you really supporting? On the one hand, the Congress party signs an MOU with the Chinese, and now you're coming out in full support with an organization which has been getting direct instructions from the Communist Party of China.
Shravan, there are two important things here. Number one, if they're receiving Chinese funding, are they actually following the directives of the Communist Party?
Of course they are. There are email exchanges that have taken place.
Number two, if that is indeed the case, Shravan, I think that is a very serious matter of national security. And you yourself started that you broke this story 2 years ago. What has the government been doing since 2 years? Such an important national security issue, and the government has been sleeping on it. We might say that it is sub judice, there were ED raids, but is there any concrete action? Has that publication been banned? Has clear links of the individuals involved with that publication, the editor, the journalists, all the other investors, the financial managers, have they been charged? Have they been looked into? Because this is a national security issue that the BJP...
Let me take that question to Mr. Agarwal of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Mr. Agarwal, let's understand this. For almost every case that your investigative agencies are looking into, be it the AJL or for that matter, several other issues, in this particular case, newsclick, journalists have been named. They have been named, but nothing has really happened. And not just journalists, there are activists who have basically been saying that, look here, we are perhaps saving democracy in the country. Very good, please do it. We all do. But having said that, for us, the nation comes first. But Mr. Agarwal, where are you lacking? Because it seems that it is almost like, putting the burner on a simmer.
Issue we have to understand, and I'll underline the issue important here is that there are two sides, because there is a legal angle where this foreign funding, the breaching the law of the land, etc. is there. There has to be a procedure of law. Law will take its own course, that has to be done. But another important issue is about the political cover. There is an ecosystem in the country which gives these kind of agencies and these kind of organizations a political cover, the political space. And then they talk, even now Harish Salveji has said today what in his interview, he has said that the people like Congress party, Rahul Gandhi, they are creating and amplifying these issues at the international forums from these news agencies. So that nexus, which has a political connotation in the country, is
but
also...
the question here, Mr. Agarwal, is that what exactly is your party...
There are two sides, two sides. One is
no, but Mr. Agarwal, your party. No, but what happens to the fact that it's not about, of course, law will take its own course, but why is it that we don't see the kind of crackdown one expects, especially when there is enough evidence on the table right now with respect to several other organizations who are working in a clandestine manner? I'm not naming any of them right now, but you do know about it. And Ravi Srivastava would perhaps agree. You would perhaps agree that instructions when it comes to from the United States of America, not just China. Let's not forget the US has played a very active role. The kind of funding that comes in from various organizations. I'm not going to name many organizations, but Mr. Ravi Srivastava, let's not undermine the fact let's not undermine the fact Aarti perhaps would be able to, perhaps elaborate on it. There are several US-based organizations. In fact, as far as Manipur is also concerned, let me just tell you this much. That when it comes to certain organizations with vested interests, especially with foreign funding of this nature, let's be very clear that you have to take this not with a pinch of salt, perhaps with a bag of salt.
Shravan, my question here is, can somebody tell me whether China is an enemy nation? No. China is a very friendly nation for India. We have got $100 billion worth of trade deficit with them. We are importing a lot from them. We have got a
okay. Aarti wants to respond. Aarti wants to. Okay. Now, just before I hand it over to Aarti, friendly. Now, there is an email exchange. There is an email exchange lamenting about the Cubs. Now, Aarti wants to respond. Aarti, please come in.
I am asking a question.
This is completely bizarre. This is completely bizarre. This is complete. No, this is absurd. This is absurd. In international relations, there are no friends.
Hear her out. It's
publishing the education of Delhi.
No, one second. Now if you're not Ravi, I'll pardon you. Ravi, I'll pardon you because just hear me out. Let's talk about facts. Ravi, you should know by now. As one second. I don't believe in any sort of rhetoric.
Yeah.
If you've come in my show, you've seen that in the past. I only talk about facts, so I'll give you one more fact and quickly I'll allow Aarti to rebut. Now, hear me out. Just, I'll give you the fact. Now, there is an email exchange. Okay, just hear me out. Yes, hear me out. I'm not getting into rhetoric. I'm giving you, there is an email exchange between Naval Roy Singham and Prabir Purkaistan. Let me tell you what is it about. It is about a series of articles that are going to be published. What is that article about? The article is about how the Chinese have done a virus genetic sequence identification. They say this was in contrast to the United States of America and India. Net, Aarti, if I'm not wrong, you're essentially saying that if there is a model when it comes to handling COVID, and secondly, identification of where it all began, it is from China. Pretty much against even allowing an expert panel to enter into China. So I'm getting into facts of it. Aarti, just a quick response to what Ravi has. Ravi, I'll give you the chance. Ravi and Ronan can come in, but Aarti, quickly.
First of all, please, let me speak.
Aarti, sorry. Just hold me. Hold on. Ravi Srivastav, just give it. See, we don't have a lot of time, so I just want a quick response. Aarti, just hold on. Let Aarti put out facts. Here, ladies and gentlemen, let's be very clear. We are going to talk about facts. We are just doing that. And I'll give you the chance. Ronan, I'll give you the chance. Quickly, Aarti.
First of all, in international relations, there are no
I am talking all facts.
You can be allies, you can be strategic allies, you can also be enemies. Also, let me state some facts. Since 2020, India and China are in a standoff situation in Ladakh at the line of actual control. And for anyone to say that we are friendly neighbors, it's not factually incorrect, but it's completely absurd to say this.
Okay.
Second, we may have trade relations, but that does not necessarily mean that we are great friends or best friends. We have
Okay, Ronan Mitra. Okay, Aarti, I'm sorry. Okay, Ravi, I've given you the chance. Let me give a chance to Ronan. Ronan, why don't you respond? Ronan, why don't you respond to the? No, one second. Diplomacy. No, 1 second. Okay, come on. That's not how it works, Ravi Srivastav. As a learned person, don't make it that kind of diplomacy. One second. We have also, when it came to the ministerial level talks that have taken place. Okay, 1 minute. Ronan, Ravi Srivastav, if you want to continue with the political rhetoric, there are several other shows where you can do it. On my show, It's not hypocrisy. I gave you no. I asked the same question of the Bharatiya Janata Party also. Allow Ronan to respond. Okay, allow Ronan to respond. Ronan.
Since the standoff,
Ronan.
where are you? You're not
Okay.
watching
I want to
television news.
Ronan, why don't you respond?
We all here are nation build. We are all for the country. Yeah, let me just speak. I just want to congratulate Aarti for being so, particular about the funding where she's coming from. Not just China. Let's talk about America. Let's talk about Southeast Asia, Australia, Middle East. Nobody should be getting funding which is against the nation. Okay. As part of the Congress rhetoric, we are talking about since yesterday, Nishikant Dubey has been attacking Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party, and I don't see where's the connection. Since 2020, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been talking on the floor of the parliament, talking anywhere possible in the public to take up the matters against China. We want to have this debate. We want to see what kind of propaganda China is doing. China is an enemy country. So what kind of conversation?
Ronan, the problem here is
that to be in the public domain.
Now you can't gloss over. You can't gloss over the fact. You can't gloss over the. Yeah, Ronan. Okay, go ahead. Make your point. Make your point. We're running out of time, so I'll give you the last word. Go ahead.
Editors Guild of India. Yeah, one second. The Editors Guild of India had also picked up, and Mr. Arnab Goswami is part of that Editors Guild. So when in 20, you can't blame the opposition and the cabals. You have the Editors Guild, which is your organization.
Where was that, Ronan? Where was that Editors Guild? Now you are talking about you got it wrong. No, you got it wrong. No. So one second.
No, I am not.
No, 1 second. That you got it wrong. First of all, the Editors Guild that you are referring to is something completely different. Aarti, you got it. No, 1 second. You want to refer to Arnab. It's a different matter altogether. That's not the same Editors Guild. Now, that same very Editors Guild, let me just tell you, if I'm not wrong, when the raids were carried out by the Enforcement Directorate, it was the same very guild or the guild of within the Editors Guild of India. They were the ones who actually came out in full support of this very organization, which was taking direct instructions from the Communist Party of China. Ladies and gentlemen, we're running short of time. On the other side, the big debate with Editor-in-Chief Arnab Goswami with regards to, once again, it is very clear that this very Lutyens media scam, which again, there is a media that is trying to save them, but it's now out in the open. It's for you to decide.